One of our Mighty Marvels. In fact, he was the first Mighty Marvel uh, to come into existence. He was the first one that I drew. And Christian is, let me just give you his character traits, because Christian is one of our characters, and he's the only character actually that flies. So I think that's the coolest thing about Christian is he's the only one that can fly. And I want to read to you just his character traits, because he has good character traits. They all do. All of our Mighty Marvels have character traits. But the thing with Christian is, because he has the ability to fly, and he's the only character to fly, then he also has different abilities that helps him to carry out his calling, his mission, and who he is. So his ability, basically, he's the captain of the Mighty Marvels, and he leads by example. That's his character. He just leads by example. He's the only one who can fly. And this character, Christian, comes out of Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 through 31. And it says, "He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." So that's Christian, and that's his scripture. Isaiah, excuse me, I'll draw it over here. Just erase this. So Isaiah 40, verse 29 through 31. That's Christian's scripture. And I thought that's pretty cool for him to be able to fly. But he flies, he soars like eagles do. And God gave us that ability also to mount up with wings as eagles. That He gives us strength, and even when we're weary, He increases the power of the weak. Okay, so we're gonna jump in. I just wanted to preface who He is, so that as you're drawing, you're able to relate to who He is and not just have a character. Okay, so I'm going to. If you hear my grandchildren in the background, it's only because they're playing. They're in the backyard. I told them I was gonna tell them to jump on, but uh, they're gonna take up my bandwidth. So okay, let's go with Christian. We're gonna go simple, just with a simple light sketch. So if you're on paper and pencil, just go very lightly, and you're gonna use your whole entire arm. Don't use your wrist like this when you're sketching. Use your whole entire arm. And I'm sorry if my iPad becomes blurry, and I'll try to slow down so that it's clear. But you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna lightly just drop your pencil down real lightly. It's staying blurry. I gotta fix that. And so on your paper, this is my paper. If that's your paper, you don't want to take up a big spot. You want to do it kind of in the corner, because his head is going to be in the corner, and his head is pretty big. So you can just draw it like that. And then once you get that down, you're going to want to put like just a line that's going to separate his face. So it's not directly in the middle, but it's a little toward the right. So if this is the middle, you want it on this side of that line. So you just want it lightly sketched out like that. And then you're going to draw across really lightly. I'm drawing it a little dark so you can see it on the camera. And that's just the basic sketch of it. That's the basic shape of his head. With Christian, the difficult part with him actually is going to be his mask, which we're going to draw right now. So it starts off at the top. If you're going to have a point, you're going to draw like a little triangle right in the middle of these two, the crosshairs on that. And if I'm going too fast, then you can just tell me to slow down. And you can even chat on the side. I'm just going to say hi so that you know that I'm chatting back with you. Rosalind's on there, Kawi. Yeah, Kawi, if you can get your niece and nephews, that'd be great. Yeah, and because this is our first one, sorry we didn't give you guys much time, but um, sometimes when I want to do something and I'm just gonna do it, and then we'll figure out everything else later. So I apologize if I didn't get the word out fast enough. I was trying to figure out how to do this anyway. Okay, so once you get that triangle, you're gonna bring this. This is his left side mask, and it's just basically a small little mountain. But follow that curve, follow that line, and then you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're gonna draw a line down on both sides because that's the sides of the mask. But here's where you're not gonna draw here yet. You're gonna give a little space here, and you're gonna make a curved shape rather than just a triangle. It's gonna be the curved shape because that goes over the bridge of his nose, and then you're going to draw a line down like this, like that, and then you're going to curve it up to connect it to the other piece. Curve it up. Okay? Now remember, all of these shapes is just guidelines. That's not your final drawing. That's just the guidelines so that you kind of know where you are. Now, when it comes to the mask in this area, I'm zooming in so that you can see it. You want to make sure that the distance from here to here are all equal from here to here, okay? So you're going to draw kind of on the inside of the mask where his eyes would be, but you want to make sure everything's pretty similar. The thickness of it from here to here between these two areas. So you just want to make sure that it's equal, and you want to do the same thing to the other side. And if by chance, something just doesn't look right, it's okay because you can fix it later. You don't want to erase right now. Some of you might have been erasing while you're at it. If you watch mine is not going to be perfect either. But these are just the sketches so that you can get an idea of what everything is going to look like. Okay? It's almost like if you saw Ninja Turtles, kind of like those type of masks. But these masks are a lot better. It's better because it's Mighty Marvels. Okay, sorry about that. It's my comic voice, I guess. Okay. So get that down. Why does my iPad keep moving? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys catch up a little bit so that I don't run too far ahead. And drink water every now and then. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay, hopefully you're caught up. If I'm going too fast, you can let me know in the chat area. You should have a chat area on the side of your screen. Okay, once you got that down, you're going to put just a tiny, with Christian, he just has a little tiny nose, not too big, but just like a little curve. And you don't want it too low and you don't want it too high. If you look at this line right here and the top of his eyes, and if this is the bottom right here, you want to drop just a little bit below that. So that way it's not too, you know, too noticeable, I guess. And then you're going to draw his smile. And his smile, you're going to have the kind of like the the little crevice crook there, and he just has a half a smile. And you can turn your paper around. Like I can turn mine like this if it's easier to move. That's my paper, but you may have actual paper. So if you have actual paper and you need to move it around, that's fine. If you need to spin your paper, then do what you need to do, because for some of us we have a comfortable movement with our hands, which is very comfortable. So you want to do the same. If you want to move your paper around, then get it to where your hand is comfortable so that it's more natural than anything else. Okay, and then you are going to start drawing his noggin, his head. So his head is he has a circular head. So you're going to, right on the edge of this, you're going to start here. You're going to start on the side and you're going to come up. And again, all of these lines, these sketches are just guidelines, and you want to come close to the edge of the mask because of the angle that he's at. And you want to make sure as best as possible that you're drawing a circle. So it's hard to draw a circle, I get it. But you're not going to go dark, you're just going to go light. But dark enough to where you can see where your line is, but not dark enough to where it's the final darkness. Okay? And then right here, I need to put something under there. Hold on, because it keeps moving. Try this. Sorry about that if this is taking too long. It gives you time to catch up if I'm going too fast. How are you guys doing with your kids? If you have kids at home, they doing okay? Are they driving you nuts? You can put it in the chat if you want, or maybe you don't want evidence of you saying that. Maybe you can just think it. So, or if you are a child and you're listening, yay, we love that you're home. We do. We're glad that we get to spend more time with you guys. So you're going to draw his chin now. So right on the edge of his mouth right here, and if his mouth is right here, then kind of on the edge, right over here, you're going to draw his chin. So his chin is going to come, not too far out, just enough. Just enough to where it's going to be the bottom of his face. Okay? His ear, we're going to draw his ear. You're just going to see his left ear. So if you're right here by the mask, right at the top of the mask is going to be the top of his ear. So you could draw like a circle, like that, half or 1/4 of the head and the rest sticking out, because you're going to use this as your reference for the ear, because now comes his hair. We're going to draw his hair, and he has a big swoosh of a hair. It's kind of like a wave. So if you live in Hawaii, you know what a wave looks like, but it's a cartoonish wave. So you're going to go big. You're going to grab right where this line is, where his head is going to be, the side of his head connecting to his ears. You need to come on the inside just a little bit. You're going to pull it up. And you cannot go too big. So just know with Christian, his hair cannot ever be too big. So you can go up. Don't go too high, because you're going to bring it back down. He has like a little spiky hair. This guy has product in his hair. He tries to keep his hair as neat as possible because he wants to take good care of himself, because he is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So he wants to make sure he takes care of himself, not to try to look nice, but to take good care of himself. So personal hygiene is very important to this guy. He's good. Okay. Hi, Oakley. What are you doing? Oh, okay. That was my grandson, Oakley. They're over. They're playing in the back. So you're going to bring this around. So you're going to do 2 spikes on the top. And then you're going to bring this all around. But make sure you're going to end right around here. So if you want to put a dot there, just a light dot, because that's where you're going to end up. Then you're going to swoosh it around. Come way out. And then you're going to go right there. So just know that it's going to pass his head over here, and there's just a big swoosh like that. And once you get that down, it's just a light sketch. Again, you don't have to draw it really hard. Hopefully you can see it on. I'll draw it a little darker so that you can see it. Okay. So once that's down there, you're going to have another piece of hair coming this way. And you're going to go up. And this piece is this right here. It's that one. So this one kind of tucks under, or will tuck under. Okay. Then we're going to bring it back to this point over here. I'll wait for you guys to catch up a little bit. Hopefully you guys are caught up. You're welcome, True. Just we gotta be there for each other and help each other. So this would be fun. Yeah, and hopefully we can do these every so often so that our kids can learn it. And we'll do different characters. Today we're gonna do Christian. So yeah, get his hair real swooshy and big. And then we're going to come on this side where the ear is and start with this point right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull up. And it's going to be like a little point there too. So you're going to pull up. And you're going to go as high as a little bit over where this point is. So just a little bit over it. Follow a little bit of this circle where you're going to connect with that circle. Use the circle as your guideline. And then you're going to have two spiked hair that comes down like that. And then another one like that. So you have two. So you don't want to touch this hair over here, but it's close to it. So you're going to have one here. Sorry, I'm drawing it a little dark so you can see it. And then one there. And then you're going to connect it here. You're going to drop it. So if you see this, the middle line that you had, you're going to drop it right around there so that it connects to that one. Okay. How's it looking, you guys? How's yours coming out? You doing okay? Okay. Every now and then stretch your fingers, because if you're drawing for a while, then you want to make sure that you're stretching out your hands, your fingers. I should have told you to do that from the beginning. Okay. So we're going to finish the ear. So here's the ear. You just follow that line. And then once you finish off the ear, you're going to put a little line for like his earlobe, I guess. Well, it just defines the ear better. Okay. Okay, not bad. That's his head. Christian has a very big head. And maybe not just, large head, but he also has a tiny body. So this part is going to be fun because this is where it gets interesting. So his body is basically going to be, his arm is going to be here, and I'll just lightly sketch it. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to let you know where it's going to be so you know where it's going to be on your paper. If you want to do this, you can, and the reason why I'm saying if you want to is because I'm going to also explain other things. I just want to let you know where the placement is going to be so that you know your reference on your paper. And his body is going to be like this. And then, of course, his feet over here. So, and if you can't see that, then that's good. Okay. Yeah, I do want to say thank you to Pastor Lynn. She is someone who, she oversees our children's ministry, and, she brings up various ideas on what to do, how we can do things for kids. So I know Pastor Lynn is watching, so we just wanted to say good job, Pastor Lynn. Always good to know you're at the helm when it comes to our children. And I know our children miss you because you really miss the children. You're like, can't wait to see them. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to lightly sketch. Okay, lightly sketch. And we're going to start with this hand up here. So the hand is going to be pretty big. With cartoon characters, everything is proportional. Everything is, it's more exaggerated. So just like his hair, big hair, he's going to have a big fist. So his hand is going to be over here on the side of his head because he's going to be flying. So that's where his hand is going to be. That gives you a good reference on what you're going to draw next, which would be his arm. And from his hand here, his fist, you're going to tuck it in a little bit. You're not going to come on the edge here. You're going to come on the inside of that. So come on the inside, and then you're going to scoop it down a little bit. And then you're going to bring his body. And his body tapers, which means it's going to be thick here, from here to here. And then you're going to end up real thin here. So you see how it goes from here to there. Don't draw this, okay? I'm just giving you a reference. So when you draw his body, it's going to come in a little bit because his belt is going to be right around here. So just draw a small little curve. That's going to be his chest. And just draw it very lightly. And then we're going to come under his neck because this is his neckline for his costume or his uniform. What do we call these? Yeah. It's uniform, right? What do they call these? This is a what do you call that? This is a, what do you call the superheroes? It's not uniform. It's not costume. How dare us call it a costume? They don't call it a costume. What is it called, kids? You should know. Maddie, what is it? You should know. Brookie, what is it? What do they call the uniform on them? Because didn't the Incredibles have it? And remember, what was that lady's name? She said, "No capes, no capes." Yeah, I forget what they called it. Maybe it is uniform. I don't think it's costume though. Suit. Where's my super suit? Yes. Okay. Oh, you guys are good. That's funny, Susan. You put costume. That's what I wasn't trying to say. I was trying to. They don't. They call it a super suit. Yeah, I'm a superhero suit. Okay, we can stick with that. That's cool. Okay, good job, you guys. Good job. Well done. Sometimes my brain gets stuck. Okay, so you're going to draw his neckline right here, and it's just a basic. I mean, you can even look in the mirror. You're gonna see your neckline, your T-shirt. You're gonna have a neckline, and now you're gonna have his other hand. Now his other hand, because of his shoulder here, it's going to curve a little bit. So just draw a curve, and it's gonna pass his ear right here. You see his ear? So it's gonna pass his ear. Don't draw this line, okay? I just drew that to show you where his ear is, but don't draw that line. Okay, so it's going to pass it a little bit. You're going to draw a line here. And then this part right here, if you look from this section, don't draw this line, okay? I'm just showing you the width from here and here. This side is much bigger than this side. It's thicker than this side because this is the shoulder area. That's the, where your biceps are, if you know a little bit of anatomy. Okay, and you can see there's a little flow here from this arm to the next. Don't draw that either. I'm drawing things you shouldn't draw. I'm just trying to give you some references. So that this part, yeah, you can do that. Are you guys going? I'm going. Oh. So once you draw that, now you draw the other fist, and same thing, a circle. That was my son and my grandson. Okay, you're going to draw that. So it's not as big as this hand because of the perspective. This is a little bit closer than that. So you want, again, it's exaggerated, but it's not too much smaller. It's almost the same size. It's only because it's the angle that he's coming at. So if you don't get that correctly, that's okay. Right, so you have that reference. And then you're going to, and because his hand is here, you're going to draw the top of his boot or boots, which is the bottom of his pants too, or is the bottom of his suit, and you're going to connect it there. And then once you do that, you're going to draw a kind of like a curve, and then a line here, and you're going to connect it. Now you're going to have two, it's actually going to split in half because he has 2 feet. So you can start with one and then split it in half, but you're going to tuck this one under there. You see how I did that? It's not one big one, but you'd make one big one at first, but then you're going to split it in half. And keep using this as your reference, the hand, because his hand is going to cover it a little bit. And then once you have this reference point, you're going to split this also. But be careful that you don't go too high. You're just going to split that in half because that's going to be his leg. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm too excited. And then right now it looks kind of weird. That's okay. It's just sketching. Mine is dark because I'm trying to show you it, but you should sketch as light as possible. And then once you get that, you're going to draw his belt. So his arm right here, if the logo is here, which the Mighty Marvel logo is right here, there's going to be a circle here. And we can draw the M in later. But once that comes in, you're going to bring his belt in. And his belt starts here, but it curves up. It's going to curve under his arm. And then you're going to draw the bottom side of his belt. And again, everything should be light so that you can draw darker over it. Because this shouldn't be here. It shouldn't connect here because you're only going to go around this high. But if it's light enough, it'll be fine. You'll be fine. And you can erase lines later, or if you go with a dark Sharpie, then the Sharpie will kind of push everything to the back. Okay, how are we doing? Everybody doing good? If you're doing good, put a like. Just put a thumbs up on the thing. Okay, or you can put it in the chat. All things are going good. Or put a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, sorry, this is moving down. I'll get this better next time. Okay, looking good so far. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you're not, going crazy or being stressed out. And the thing about just doing a light sketch is it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what the whole point to doing a sketch is. It's just really light. Okay, it looks good. Right on. Good. Thumbs up, everybody. Good job. Okay, so that's where we are right now. We're going to head up to the top part of his fist. So this is going to be his thumb. So I'm just drawing like a jelly bean. Okay, and it's not ending here. I'm actually going over because, and you're going to see, once you do that, you're going to be able to draw, and that's just a light sketch. His thumb is going to be like this. Like that. And then you're going to draw his other fingers. So you're going to come from the side of his head. You're going to draw the first finger. Like that. Because it's tucked under his thumb. Then you're going to draw the next finger. And you're using that circle just as a reference. And you're going to bring that finger around and underneath. Because it's tucking under that one. So you're going to bring it right under. Not too far under here because it's not going to make sense. So make sure it's, when you draw it, it's coming under and just right under the thumb. You don't want it to be too far because this finger is there. But it's just under the thumb. So you got that down. Then you're going to draw his pinky. Now remember, follow the circle. You don't have to be exactly on the circle. You're just using it as a reference. And you're going to draw his pinky. And Christian only has 4 fingers like Mickey Mouse. Once that's done, once you got the fingers in, now you can draw the palm of his hand or the bottom part. And you're going to draw, actually draw this side first. Let's start with this side. And you're gonna come from the side of his head, and you're gonna curve up. Don't connect it here. Just curve it right there. And then you're going to draw this one and connect it. Yay, you drew his hand. Well done. So it's basically you're drawing jelly beans. Everything is shapes when it comes to drawing anything, especially cartoon characters. Just think of shapes. So if you see a cartoon character, it may look difficult, but if you break it down into shapes, circles, triangles, squares, curves, lines, triangles, then it becomes a lot easier. So as an artist, when you look at something, break it down into shapes so that you're able to at least get a light sketch first. Always start with a light sketch. And the rule of thumb when it comes to sketching, just remember this. It's better to be lighter than darker. And here's the principle. You can always go darker, but it's very difficult to go lighter. The only way you can go lighter is if you have an eraser, and you don't want to erase. You want to stay away from erasing as much as possible. So when you're sketching, the lighter, the better. You can always go darker, but you can never go lighter. So that's the principle. And that's the basic principle in life. You want to make wise decisions, because when you make unwise decisions, you're going to see the top part, not the underneath of his hand. So we're using the top part of his hand. So we're going to view the top part of his hand. So we're going to, let me just move this up here so you can see it better. We're going to have it taper, okay? And the reason why I'm saying taper is because you don't want to do this incorrectly right now. His fingers are going to curve this way. Okay, so when you draw this is going to be the side of his hand where his pinky is. Don't go past the line. You want to stay within that line. I'm just going to draw a small bump right there. Just a small bump. Then you're going to draw another bump like this. So you have those two bumps. This one is going to be a little bit longer because it's going to protrude a little bit. And then you're going to curve it down. So it's almost like a fish hook. Can you see that? It's like a fish hook by itself. So it's going to be like that. And then his thumb, you come from this is the end of his sleeve. If this is his shirt, end of his sleeve, you're going to bring that around and just tuck it right there. Just like that. Hopefully you're enjoying this classical music. When I was growing up and I used to draw, I used to listen to classical music because that's what calmed me. We were going through a difficult time in our family, and as a teenager, I had the most difficult time in my life. It was the toughest time, and I couldn't fall asleep because of my family situations and just having a hard time. And the only thing that could put me to sleep was classical music. I didn't know Jesus at that time, so he used classical music to calm my mind. My mind would race all the time. So now we have Christ. We can pray to him. Okay, so that's okay. Looking good, guys. Nice. And maybe after this, I don't know how we could do this. If somehow you can email it to me, I would love to post it on our NH Marvelous Kids Instagram account. I think that would be so cool that we would do that. And you can just email me at sheldon@newhopehilo.org. Or maybe I can give them someone else. Who could I give? I know, Pastor Lynn, you're listening. Maybe you guys can put in the chat where to send it to. I might not be the person because I don't think I can post it. I don't have the account. But if you guys can figure that out, I would love to post what you guys did. If you guys are willing, I think that would be cool. And put your name on it. And don't compare it to anybody else. Trust me, I have a hard time comparing it with my very own. So anyway, let's continue. So you have the belt. Now you're gonna put like his little cufflinks on the bottom. So these two, although there's a line here, aren't lined up. This one is gonna be down here. This one is gonna be a little bit higher. So it's offset because of the perspective. You see how his foot is tucked under? So this one should be higher than this one. And then his leg is going to come to right around there. Okay? And then you're going to draw his cuffling. So you got one here and run there. So offset, you see how the line is offset? It's not one line across, it's offset. Okay, we are almost done. Okay, you guys doing good? All right. Okay, so that's the basic sketch. Actually, we can do the M. Let's do the M on the inside. So the Mighty Marvel emblem, the logo, is just a basic M, and you're gonna make it thicker, but just draw the M, and you can thicken it. Don't make it connect to the lines. You don't want it to connect to the circle because there's spacing in it. But it's basically like that. Just draw an M, and you're gonna draw in the circle. Darker. And then there actually is a thin line around it. You don't have to do this, but I know some of you want to do it as best as possible. And then you're going to have like rays of light. That's what these are underneath. So rays like that. So you want it just basic enough so that you can see it, just so that it's not as detailed. Okay, and then you're going to, on his sleeves, he has two accents on his arms. And this is just a part of his look. And what you want to do with this is, it may not seem like you need to really think this through, but you need to think this part through. This part is thicker than this area. So it tapers in, it comes down. So it's thick here and then thin. Thick here, thin. Thick and then thin. In other words, this area from here to here is wider than here to here. So that there's a look to it. And then you do the other side, kind of the same thing. But now this one, you're going to go up. So you go up towards his palm, and then you bring it down. And it curves a little bit because you got to remember his arm is a cylinder. It's curved. So you don't want to draw a straight line like that. Then there's no character to it or feel to it. When you draw something, you want to draw it with your feeling or your heart, not necessarily with your eyes. You want to put your whole heart into it. In fact, the Bible even tells us, in everything you do wholeheartedly as unto the Lord rather than for man. So I kind of use that same principle. When you draw, you use your heart when you draw. And so you want it to be where there's character to it, where there's emotion attached to it, and not negative emotion, but that you feel good about what you're drawing and you're doing something positive with your talent and your skills or your giftings. And so you're going to do that like that. Actually, his arm should be a little bit more curved like that. We can correct that later. Let me just unzoom. But yeah, we do everything heart first. Okay, that's the basic sketch right there. Okay, now if you want to, there's two things that you can do, and I'm going to give you the option. The first is you can stick with your pencil, just use your pencil as your main tool, and you're going to draw just harder. So now that you're done with a sketch, sketching is you're doing fast motions like this, right? But once you start doing the final, it's called inking or the final lines, then now you're going to do it with one swoop. You're going to do it with one hard stroke like that. If you want to use your pencil, you can. I am going to use a pen because I'm on my tablet, and so I'm going to change to a pen. You can change to a pen too if you want to. And if you use a Sharpie, make sure you have something under your paper because the Sharpie bleeds through and you don't want to get that on your table. Unless of course you have an art table, then that's awesome. So I'm going to use I'll use, it's called a studio pen. Yeah. Let me see the thickness. See, I have the advantage of thickness and thinness, but um, so you also can do your drawing using a Sharpie pen, or if you want to use your pencil, just draw it harder and darker. Okay, but this is the good part. So at this point, you can start from the beginning, or you can start with a reference point that you would like because you're inking right now. And sometimes when you're doing the final drawing or the final lines, you're going to jump from one place to the next. You can follow me on this part, or you can do your own. Okay? So we're going to, I'm going to start with the mask. So I'm going to go here and here. And I'm doing it very thick so that you can see it too. Very thick and loosely. Sorry about that. It was on a weird, sorry, I had to change my setting. I'll go back again. I should change this too. I have to change my opacity because I went dark so that you could see it, but now I can't see my pen. I know it's almost like, wow, that's cheat. You can you can just make yours lighter. So that's why it's good to lightly sketch it. I just had to do it harder for the screen. Okay. Start again. Okay, so with the mask, start with your mask. You can move your paper around if you need to. And you can move around from point to point if you need to. So, or you can follow me if you want. You're gonna curve around the nose, come down and come up. So while you're following your sketch, um, know that you can modify if you need to. Like right now, I'm going to modify his eye part and just kind of curve it there, curve it here. You might have to modify so that you can fit what you are seeing, because in your sketch it may not look good, so you can fix it with the inking or the final line. Oops, I slipped. And if you make a mistake, that is okay. Okay, how are we looking? I know mine is a little crooked. That's okay. And I'll draw his nose, draw his mouth. And if you want to have that, you know how I have it tapered? Then you can draw hard and just go light after. You draw hard and then you just pull it up. If you want that point. Same thing with the mouth. Draw hard and then you go light. So you have that little, point to it. And then you're going to, this part you want to do in piece two. You want to do the chin first so that you have a reference point, where to stop and start when it comes to the face. So I'm going to draw the face here. And I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to do the same thing. When you come by the ear part, you're not going to you're not going to draw all the way up to the earlobe. You have to leave a gap there so that when you draw the ear, it doesn't connect. Can you see right here? It doesn't connect because the hair, I'm going to draw the hair right here. You see like that? Leave that gap because the earlobe is going to be right there. So you have a gap there. And then you can draw the hair. I'm going to draw the hair here. If I'm going too fast, I apologize. But this part, you can kind of go to your own speed and wherever you want to draw it. So just know that if you're drawing this part, the hair, and you're coming around, know where you are so that you don't cross over that one. You're coming to it. When you're drawing, it's good to know where you started, but it's also good to know where you're going. In fact, there's my people were doing the challenges for the favorite scripture, and my favorite scripture is Proverbs 22 verse 3, and it says, the prudent person foresees the danger ahead and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. And that's the same principle. It's knowing where you are. The prudent person foresees what's coming up. But the simpleton, the unwise person, just kind of goes blindly on. And if you're not looking where you're going, you're going to cross a line, you're going to miss something, and now you're going to suffer the consequences. So there's a principle there too. And if you want to connect certain areas, you can do that. Connect that. Okay, now on this area, when it comes to the hair, I'm going to draw this one. Remember, know where you're starting and then where you're going. And what I normally do is when I start at a point like this, I don't watch where I am. I watch where I'm going. I'm going to head into that direction so I know where I'm going to end up and where I need to stop. And then same thing like this one. And sometimes it's hard because your hand might be in the way, but you just do the best that you can with the perspective that you have or the angle that you're at. Okay, I'm going to drop down to his neckline because that's where I think I need to draw next. And I'm going to do his arm. Sorry if I'm going too fast. Please slow me down if I am. I think when it comes to drawing, patience is key. And it's kind of like parenting. When it comes to parenting, patience is key. And especially right now because our children are at home. Right, children? Our parents need to be patient with us. So we're all learning together, and children need to be patient with the parents. So let's all work together during this time so that we can be patient with one another. Yeah, so parents, Susan said, if you want, you may post it on your Instagram. Yeah, and then tag. And then we will do our best to put it on our story. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. That's really good. Yeah, you can post it and then just tag us. That'd be cool. Okay, Vevavi. We were doing the arm. Okay, now we're going to do, great, now I'm going to do accents. Okay, let's do the, I get in trouble sometimes when I do accents. Okay, we're going to do the hand. Well, I'm going to do the hand. You can do whatever you want. And so when it comes to like the hand area, now that you're doing inking or the final, the final lines, then now you can use a little bit more of your wrist and fingers than your whole arm. Sketching, you're going to use your whole arm. Once you're done with that, remember now curve it in. Curve it in. Okay, I'm going to jump up here. Like I said, you can jump around when it comes to the inking part or your final line. And then you're going to draw the thumb, draw that line, draw that line, and the pinky. Okay, looking good. Okay, and then you're going to draw the palm. Well, I'm going to draw the palm and the other palm tucked under. Now I can draw the arm, bring it down, curve it, draw the stripe, other stripe, and that stripe. Okay. Now this is the cool part because this is actually one long line to hit the tip of his boot, because this is going to be my ending point right here. So I know where I'm going. So I'm going to start right here. Bring it out a little bit because it's his chest. Bring it in because it's his stomach. Bring it out because it's his thigh. Bring it in because it's his ankle. Bring it out because it's the top of his foot. And then slide right there. And I slipped right there. That's okay. Maybe I can fix it later. Okay, so this is his chest area. And you're going to make it like that. So now I can take... Wow, she's singing. I'm going to take it from here and go up. And once again, your lines are not going to be lined up because his feet is not equal. They're not equal in length. So that's his feet underneath. And you can thicken it too if you want to thicken the lines, just to bring correction, because like here I messed up. Is his chest was supposed to be higher, now it looks like he has a stomach. Which happens in life. Right, parents? It happens. Too bad. It's just the way it is. We try our best to stay healthy as best as possible. And it's hard right now because we're at home and there's a lot of food around. That's why we go running, right? True? That's why we exercise. We're always encouraging each other. So thank you for that, True. Give me the challenge. Thank you. It was only 10 push-ups though. Okay. I'm just drawing the M. My M is kind of crooked. And if your M is crooked, it is okay. You know why? Because it's on his shirt. If you look at your shirts, it's not always, the logo on it isn't always perfect because your shirt has wrinkles. So when it comes to details like this, it's okay to be a little bit off as I keep making mistakes. But and we'll try to do a different character every time. I just started with Christian because Christian is he's not an easy character. All of the characters are not easy, but every character has its own quality to it. It just, some characters take longer than others. Then I'm going to draw his belt. Get his belt around. Okay, that's my inking. I'm going to thicken some of the lines, and you can do that too, just to accent it a little bit to be more. And if you're going to draw thick, know this, that even that has a purpose. So I'm drawing the lines thick on this side because I'm imagining the light source coming from this direction. Like the sun is coming this direction, that means there's going to be more shadow on this side. So if the sun is coming here, then this side will be more of the shadowing. And it's going to be thicker. So that's why I'm doing thick lines on this side. So it'll be all the underneath and the right side. And it's just to add a little bit of character and give it some depth. Okay. Looking good, guys. Thank you for staying with me on this. Keep me company. I mean, I have company. Heidi's in the house. And my boys are outside in the back, I think. Go play with them afterwards. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the mask because underneath the mask, I want to highlight over here. Oops, excuse me. Should turn my paper. So I'm going to highlight underneath also. Or darken as I darken it. As you can see, it gives a little bit of a pop feel to it, or it pops a little bit. And if you want, you can add shading. You can do whatever you want with it. I'll give you the final. I'm just going to give you the black and white. You can color it in however you want it, but I'm going to give you the colors for him, so that when you color it in, you can do the right colors. I would color with you, but when I color, it's different than how you color because mine is digital. I just I drag and drop. That's what it's called. Okay, looking good so far. Okay, how is yours looking? Hopefully you're doing okay. I know sometimes we will look at ours and compare it with someone else's, but let's not do that. Let's just look at our very own. And then you can always, and this is the good news, you can always draw another one and then improve from there. So when we started, I talked about Christians. Christian has a scripture because every Marvel character has a scripture. And for Christian, his ability is that he is the captain of the mighty marvels and he leads by example. And he's the only one who can fly because it's referenced after Isaiah chapter 40 verses 29 through 31. This is Christian's scripture, that he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So that's his scripture. And so every mighty Marvel character has a scripture, and that is his. Okay, so the inking part basically done. I'll give you the coloring for him, so that at least you'll have an idea of what colors to color him. Let me see where's Christian. They all have there. Okay, there you go. Okay, so with Christian, you're going to color in his face, and so I'm going to take off I can take off the sketch. You still have your sketch, so this is going to be my reference layer. So with his face, if you have a tan color, then you're going to color in his face tan. And his fingers are going to be tan. That's why I said with mine I can drag and drop. Sorry, it's like a shortcut for me. But this is the color scheme for him. And of course his neck. And his mask is red. So we're going to color it red. His mask is red, as well as his belt and shoes. Is it this color red? Did I do the wrong color red? Well, that's... Okay, let me redo all of that just so that I get the right color. Sorry about that. Okay, so tan is his hands and face and neck. And I think what we can do next time, and I'm not sure if we're able to do this, but do both YouTube and Facebook. Not sure. Maybe Susan, you can check on that to see if that's even possible. Okay, once we do the tan parts, what did I do? I did the red, right? So red for his mask, belt, and boots. Mask, belt, and boots. And then his suit is blue. Or is it this blue? I think it's that blue. Wrong blue. Okay. So blue, 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 and blue. And then everything else is pretty much shading if you want to shade in different areas. It's up to you. I am going to shade in different areas. That way there's a full look to it. So on my iPad, you can use gray, you can use a dark blue, you can choose whatever color you want to shade. I need to fill in, because I'm on digital, I have to fill in the white. And, oops. So hopefully yours, you're able to color yours too and shade in. I'm going to, I do a technique when I do shading. So it'll just be different for you. You just shade whatever you need to according to. I'll show you what I'm doing. I use black and then I change my what is called opacity. I change the lightness of it. For instance, if I'm going to do a shadow here, it's going to be dark like that. Then I'll color it in. And then if I'm doing a shadow here, I'll color that in. Sorry if my hand is in the picture. Okay, same thing here. I'll do shadowing here. Right there. Okay. And then there's some shadowing here and some there. And then I'll pull this and that. So right now it looks messy for me, so don't do what I'm doing. I'll show you a technique that I use because I can do this on digital. You're not able to do this on yours. So once I color in the black shading, like dark areas, once I do that, then I change my opacity and you'll see the difference. Okay, so I use, this is called opacity. So watch the dark area. So I change it so now it becomes lighter. There, so that's my shading. That's how I do my shading on. Now because of the opacity on that layer is lighter, I can now just keep shading. So you can use gray, you can use, like if you're on a blue, use a purple to shade or a darker blue. Shading is important. It adds values. If you when you study art, they're going to teach you, probably one of the first things is a thing called values, to go from dark to light. And when you learn values, then you're able to learn how to have your artwork pop out so that it's not just a flat picture. You can add depth to it. You can give it a different feel by bringing in shading. You can do that with color crayons. You can do it with inking, with pens, with different techniques of what is called like cross hatching or dots. There's so many different techniques when it comes to drawing or art and shading. I'm going to just draw here. Shading over here. Sorry, I'm going super fast now. I don't want to keep you guys too long. You're going to have to eat soon. I wish I could do this every day. This fills me. I like doing things creative. Okay, keep shading. And the shading, remember where your light source is, because that's going to give you your reference point to where you're going to draw your shadow. And so every now and then when you see the sun shining, look where the shadows are. Study nature, because it'll help you with when you start drawing. You're going to be able to know where the light source is and where the shadows fall. And if you think about it, even with God, you want to know where your light source is, and He's our source of light. He's our source of everything that is good. Okay, so you keep shading in. They're fighting now. That's what happens when you have 3 boys. Okay. So you got that. Keep shading. Are you guys shading? Are you guys doing good? Are you coloring yet? Or are you still? I don't know where you are. I can't see what you guys are doing, but hopefully you guys are doing well. You guys are doing good. Let me check how everybody is doing. Okay. Sweet. Looking good so far. We're actually almost done. Just to let you guys know, I'm using my iPad Pro. It's a 12.9, I think. I think it's a 12 or 11.9. It's the bigger one, the bigger screen, and it's the first generation, and the first generation Apple Pencil. That's pretty much it. That's my Christian. That's him flying. I can put a background if I wanted to. You can put a background too. I'll just throw some buildings. Something very simple. Cartoon buildings. See, I can take this. Big mask. And go to this one. Oops. Under here. Oh, I clipped the whole thing. I see. I can see what's happening. Yeah. Okay, maybe I won't do that then. Or should I move him? Okay. Or what I will do is use this as an alpha lock. There we go. Alpha lock. Take that off. Okay. So I was going to try a technique. It didn't work. That's okay. So I'm just going to do like a town or a city. Now I'm doing it really quickly. I can do this. You can figure out another way to do it. Mine, because I can use this thing called layers. If you know Photoshop, then you know what I'm talking about. So, and it just makes it faster to do. And one more building, just a small one. Put windows on it. Put some windows. You can put windows too. You don't, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is just cartoon type of drawing, so you want it to be playful, and you want it to have a feel to it. Just color in that side. I don't know what color we're gonna color our buildings though. Maybe I'll just make it gray or something. You can color yours whatever color you want. Make it work. Not sure what you guys are doing tomorrow night, but hopefully you make it a good one. Be there for each other with your family and enjoy the season as best as possible. And I think when we're able to do things together, we'll get through this time together, and that's gonna be helpful for all of us. And we continuously pray that God would bring in His healing and His strength and His joy for all of us. Okay, we are almost done. It's not that bad. I didn't want it to be really short, but I didn't want it to be so long. I told my grandson I was going to be 2 hours, and we were an hour and a half. He said, 2 hours? And I was saying that so that, you know how kids say, are you done yet? So I give him a long time so that, because I know it may go that long, but it shouldn't go that long. So now so at least it's a little shorter, rather than saying it's going to be 10 minutes and it becomes an hour. Anyway, I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's fill in the colors. Again, you can color yours however you want, whatever color. I'm just using gray for mine. I colored in the whole thing by accident. Okay. And if you're going to color in the buildings, just start with, excuse me, just start with on the sides, like you still want it to have a feel to it. So I'm doing dark on the sides, and then I'm going to do light on the front, and you'll see the difference. Oh, keep doing that. Oops, that was bad. Okay, and then once you're done, you can do whatever you want with it. But I would love it if you posted it. That'd be super good. It'd be great if you posted it. Where did it go? Okay, here we are. Okay, I'll go lighter, and then we should be done. I'll just color in the whole thing because I'm going to do something else with the squares. Sorry, I just had to change. Oop. Okay. I'll just quickly do this part because this is more of the background than anything else. So I don't want to take too much time on doing this because we need to eat. And you need to eat. too far. Maybe I should put this under, then that way I can do that. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so whatever you color it, that's fine. That's good. You can make it however you want it to be. And once I'm done with this, then I can like that, merge that together. Then I'm going to bring in like a kind of, I guess, an evening sky. I don't know. I'll try this. Then I'll just drop this opacity a little bit. That way he pops out. There you go. And then we're done. Well, I'm done. I'm not sure if you're done. So hopefully everything is good. How'd you do? Tag it. Put it in our Instagram. I'll go check it out. Okay? But thank you for joining. Thank you for jumping on. We'll have more times. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you again. All right. Have a good night, you guys. Thanks for joining. God bless.